A snake was accidentally injured by a saw blade. Angrily, it turned and bit at the saw's teeth, but only ended up with a mouth full of blood. Feeling provoked, it mustered all its strength to wrap its body tightly around the saw, intending to kill its opponent, only to have its body severed by the sharp blades. Even in death, the snake never understood that what killed it wasn't the saw itself, but its own uncontrolled emotions. The saw, an inanimate object, possessed no malice. It was merely a tool, existing in the world, following the laws of physics. Its sharp edges were not designed for aggression, but for purpose. When the snake first brushed against it, the cut was an accident, a random confluence of movement and placement. It was a minor wound, something from which the snake could have easily retreated and recovered. Had the snake paused, assessed the situation, and recognized the inanimate nature of the saw, it would have slithered away, perhaps with a scar, but with its life intact. The initial contact was a matter of fate, a simple, unfortunate event. The tragedy that followed, however, was not orchestrated by fate, but the snake's own calamitous reaction. Its anger, a blinding and ferocious force, transformed a minor incident into a fatal encounter. This fury clouded its judgment, replacing instinct and reason with a singular self-destructive impulse to attack the source of its pain. The snake perceived the saw not as an object, but as a mortal enemy that had deliberately inflicted harm. This anthropomorphism, this projection of intent onto a lifeless thing, was its first critical error. Fueled by this misguided rage, the snake launched its first assault. It lunged, sinking its fangs into the cold, unyielding steel of the saw blade. The result was immediate and brutal. The very weapons it relied upon for defense and hunting became instruments of its own suffering. Its mouth filled with the warm, metallic taste of its own blood as the sharp teeth of the saw tore through its delicate flesh. The pain intensified, a searing agony that should have served as a final, desperate warning. It was a clear signal from its own body that this was a battle it could not win, a foe that could not be defeated through aggression. But the snake, now consumed by a feedback loop of pain and fury, misinterpreted the signal. The increased suffering did not prompt a retreat. Instead, it was perceived as a deeper provocation, a more egregious attack from its enemy. The initial anger had now metastasized into a vengeful obsession. It was no longer just about lashing out, it was about annihilation. The snake felt that its very honor, its existence had been challenged. The saw had to be destroyed. This escalation of emotion led to the snake's final fatal act. It gathered every ounce of its formidable strength, its powerful muscles coiling in preparation for a decisive strike. Ignoring the blood, the pain, and the obvious futility of its efforts, it launched its entire body at the saw. It wrapped itself around the cold, jagged blade, constricting with all its might. This was the snake's ultimate weapon, the crushing embrace it used to subdue prey and vanquish rivals. It was an act of total commitment, a desperate gamble to suffocate and break its unyielding opponent. But the saw was not a living creature that could be choked into submission. It did not breathe, it did not feel pressure, it only cut. As the snake tightened its grip, the sharp, serrated edges of the blade bit deeper and deeper into its flesh. Its powerful constriction became a form of self-mutilation. The very strength it was so proud of was turned against it, hastening its own demise. With each desperate squeeze, the saw's teeth sliced through muscle, sinew, and bone until its body was severed. The life force drained away, and the snake collapsed, defeated not by an enemy, but by its own tragic misinterpretation of the world. Even as its consciousness faded, the snake never grasped the truth. It died believing it had been locked in a mortal struggle with a malevolent entity. It never understood that the saw was just a piece of metal, indifferent to its pain and its rage. The true killer was the tempest raging within its own mind, the unchecked, raw, and blinding emotion that had hijacked its every instinct. The snake became a prisoner of its own anger, a slave to its own pride. It chose a path of confrontation when the path of wisdom was simply to move away. It transformed a survivable injury into a death sentence. The saw was merely the instrument. The architect of its destruction was its own emotional immaturity. This small, tragic fable holds a profound and timeless lesson for all of us. It serves as a stark and powerful metaphor for the human condition, for the countless times we allow our own internal turmoil to dictate our actions, often with devastating consequences. We too encounter saws in our daily lives. They may not be literal blades of steel, but they are the sharp edges of existence. An unkind word from a stranger, a perceived slight from a colleague, a criticism from a loved one, or an unexpected setback that disrupts our plans. These are the random, often unintentional moments of friction that can cause us pain. Like the snake, our initial reaction is often one of anger, of feeling wronged and attacked. We personalize the event, attributing malice and intent where there may be none. The careless driver who cuts us off in traffic becomes a personal enemy. The friend who forgets a promise becomes a traitor. The boss who offers constructive criticism becomes a tyrant seeking to undermine us. In these moments, our primitive emotional brain, our inner snake, takes over. It screams for retaliation, for justice, for a restoration of our wounded pride. It demands that we bite the saw. And so we do. We fire off an angry email, we post a vitriolic comment on social media, we engage in a shouting match, or we hold on to a grudge that festers like an infected wound. We attack the source of our pain, hoping to inflict a wound in return. But like the snake biting the saw blade, these actions almost always harm us more than they harm our perceived aggressor. The angry email can damage our professional reputation. The public outburst can alienate friends and family. The grudge consumes our mental and emotional energy, filling our days with bitterness and resentment, while the other person may have long forgotten the incident. We end up with a mouth full of our own blood, nursing wounds that are deeper and more painful than the original slight. And when this initial retaliation fails to soothe our rage, when it only brings us more pain and frustration, we are tempted to escalate, just as the snake did. We feel provoked, believing that the enemy must be crushed. We commit all our strength to the fight. We wrap our entire being around the problem, determined to squeeze it into submission. This can manifest as an all-consuming legal battle over a minor dispute, a vindictive campaign to ruin someone's reputation, or a stubborn refusal to let go of a past grievance, allowing it to define our entire identity. We invest our time, our energy, our resources, and our emotional well-being into the single-minded pursuit of victory. But in doing so, we are wrapping ourselves around a saw blade. The object of our obsession remains largely unaffected, while we are the ones being torn apart. The legal fees drain our savings, the quest for revenge isolates us from those who care about us, and the obsession with past hurts prevents us from moving forward and embracing the future. We sacrifice our peace, our happiness, and sometimes even our health in a futile attempt to destroy something that, in the grand scheme of things, holds no real power over us unless we grant it that power. We are severed by our own constriction. Remember, the most terrifying enemy is never another person, but a self that is taken over by emotions and has lost its reason.
The true battle is not with the external world, but with the internal chaos of our own minds. Other people and unfortunate circumstances are simply the saws. They are inert until we react to them. It is our reaction, our uncontrolled anger, our fragile pride, our insatiable need for vengeance that is the true venom. Wisdom is recognizing the saw for what it is, an inanimate object, a neutral event. It is the ability to feel the initial pain of the cut, but instead of lashing out, to pause, to breathe, and to choose a different response. It is the strength to pull back, to tend to our own wound, and to move on. It is understanding that some battles are not worth fighting, not because we are weak, but because we are strong enough to